Hello, Gold Derbyites. Welcome back to a post Golden Globes edition of Awards Magnet. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter, joined here again by Senior Editors Kevin Sullivan and Marcus James Dixon. We're going to hold ourselves to account for the Golden Globes predictions we made. You heard on Friday. We got some stuff right. We were on one battle, dominated as we expected. The Pluribus call, maybe that would be the thing to take down. Sadly, did not happen, at least in Best Drama Series. So the Pluribus did not take down the pit, but it did at least make one inroad. So, win some, lose some on our prediction side. As a note, Golden Globes producer Dick Clark Productions is owned by Penske Media Eldridge, a joint venture between Eldridge and Penske Media Corporation, which also owns Gold Derby. But welcome, gentlemen. What did you first off? What did you think of the show overall? What was your feeling about the Globes last night?
I mean, I was watching it from home in my pajamas, so I enjoyed Nikki Glazer. I loved her last year. I loved her this year. She had some amazing jokes. I think my favorite was, the show was on CBS, and she actually went after CBS News by calling it the CBS News. Absolutely genius. A lot of the presenters were really good. Wanda Sykes, I thought, knocked it out of the park going after renowned atheist Ricky Gervais by saying Ricky would like to thank God. Just genius. But yeah, overall, I mean, my predictions were terrible. I went on way too many tangents, way too many, hope dictions. And I guess next year I'm going to have to remember copy the Emmy winners and copy Gold Derby's Oscar predictions, because that's how you're going to win the Golden Globes.
That's the path to victory, right? Kevin, you were on location, and there was the night got off to an exciting start when there was a fire in the press room. So tell us a little bit about that. And
there was a small fire in the press room. I didn't have eyes on it because I had one hand on my bag and one eye on the exit sign, because I was not fooling around. If there was a small fire that broke out around a coffee station in the press area. And if it had gone on for about 5 more seconds, because it was right near a curtain, I was going to be hightailing it out of there. But luckily, the staff on hand, Beverly Hilton, took care of it really quickly. The carpet was a little singed for the rest of the night, as a reminder. But it was exciting back in the room. I think there were a few surprises, pretty much exclusively on the movie side. And there was this excitement around in the room. I know journalistic tenets would suggest that we're supposed to be objective people here, but there were quite a few cheers when Santa Taylor won, when Sinners took home box office cinematic achievement, which we can talk more about. But yeah, it was an exciting night.
Yeah. I like to imagine you as Benicio del Toro's sensei leading people out of the press room in case it did catch fire. You'd just be like taking them through the hallways and out to safety. I
was almost at the start of another revolution when there was miscommunication about who got to eat and who didn't get to eat in the press room. And I was at the head of the line leading a kind of very calm discussion about, I think we all need to eat here. We've all been here for a very long time. There was cooler heads prevail, but it was tense there for a second.
Wow.
I do have one negative thing about the show. I wasn't even aware that Sinners had won Best Score until maybe an hour later, because they did that during a commercial. I mean, why? The show already went over. They could have just gone over by 2 more minutes and give Ludwig his glory on the show. So that was a big thumbs down.
Yeah. Do they have an explanation for that, Kevin? Do they say why that happened on the ground, or like why they decided not to air it?
No, I mean, it was interesting to see just it seemed like the removal of just one category. It seemed really, I don't know, really targeted to that one category. And the feed in the press room the camera stayed live in the room, so I was able to see Ludwig Göransson's acceptance speech. It wasn't terribly long, and I don't think anyone would have really noticed had it been part of the telecast, except maybe Ludwig Göransson's loved ones, who were probably excited to see him win. But yeah, no, it was odd. There was some discussion on the pre-show with Variety. One of the hosts asked Hans Zimmer about his feelings about the exclusion of the category from the telecast, and he didn't feel so good about it. I think kind of along the lines of what a lot of awards watchers feel is that this part of what makes these nights special is that we are calling out crafts and people who usually don't get attention, and to to cut that in service of playing video clips from podcasts was an unusual choice. But they're always messing with the formula of how to get these things within a reasonable time. I'm not sure it was totally effective, but what are you gonna do?
Hey, we needed those several seconds of the UFC fighters walking out on stage before the heated rivalry couple, because that was just so good.
There we
It
go.
was a sweaty moment. They're like, what do people like? UFC? Yeah, sure. Do we need to incorporate them anyway? No, just set them out.
Right. Well, it's also notable because the CCA, Critics' Choice Awards, got in trouble last week for not showing best foreign language film. Not presenting that during the ceremony, instead presenting it to the secret agent director on the red carpet. and I think even he kind of called them out afterwards, saying, "Guys, that wasn't really cool. I would have liked to have had my moment in the room." So yeah, I think these decisions sometimes to hand these statues out in different places don't play well with the talent, for sure.
Well, hopefully we're seeing a preview of the solve that years from now the YouTube broadcast of the Oscars could fix. I don't know how many people are watching this on linear television. It is still a sizable chunk, but being really beholden to these time slots and advertisers, it doesn't really feel very modern.
Yeah. It'll just be an endless Twitch stream where the comments are scrolling by and everyone's coming up and accepting things. All right. Well, it's especially sad that we didn't get to see the Sinners acceptance speech for Best Score, because that was one of its only 2 wins last night. And definitely we had predicted, and a lot of people predicted, a lot more, including Best Drama Film. But that ended up going instead to Hamnet, which I guess we can call an upset because of the love for Sinners. But at the same time, Hamnet's been a really strong contender throughout the season. So it's one of those, like, it's an upset, but at the same time, maybe not, because this movie has been loved. It won the Toronto's People's Choice Award. It won the AARP Movies for Grown Up Award the night before the Globe, so it's definitely not out of left field that it was a victor. But so, were you both surprised that Hamnet took down Sinners?
Yeah, I was surprised, and I have to say, we're in 2026, and Steven Spielberg. It's so good to see him up there giving an acceptance speech. It's been a while since he's been up there, and yeah, I think a lot of people didn't even know he was a producer on Hamnet. But there you go. So, I mean, keep in mind that Anora last year won 0 Golden Globes, and it still went on to win 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. So there is a little bit of give and take with the Globes. Yes, Sinners had a bad night, but what does that mean going forward? Maybe not a lot.
Yeah, I think, as you said, this was not out of left field. Hamnet is a series works in not just beyond Jessie Buckley being considered like the earliest lock within this award season. There is a lot of love for the movie as a whole, and I think what we saw last night, I think you can kind of pin on 2 kind of explanations for what happened with Sinners. I think the most likely explanation is we have to factor the presence of the Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award. I think if that award does not exist and doesn't give people an off ramp, give voters an off ramp to award Sinners something, I think maybe Best Picture Drama, maybe that shakes out somewhat differently. I think if you have, with the Box Office Cinematic Achievement Award, you have a really obvious category to award Sinners with. And I think if you're filling out that ballot and you're already giving Sinners something, you do. I very much empathize with and understand the feeling that you do need to, you would like to spread out the love. But I think having those 2 awards, or having the extra award for box office achievement, it does kind of separate out what the tenets of a good film are, and it kind of gets to the question of, should this category exist? Because just because a movie achieves well in terms of the box office, does that make it less worthy of a prestigious honor like best picture? I don't think so. I think that's kind of where we get into the conversation of, like, how does this play out if there's only one of those 2 categories? This all may be moot going forward with the Oscars, because I think one battle has a really clear line to victory. But it is now more of a 3-horse race, I think, in a way that it wasn't before. So it will be interesting to see it play out.
There are also some conspiracy theories online that maybe the voters didn't want to give Warner Brothers both of the main picture prizes, one battle, one comedy. So if Sinners had won drama, it would have won both. Maybe there was a little bit of and they're just in their own minds, like, let's spread the wealth. Let's make sure, Hamnet is focus features. Let's make sure they get something big. And so that could have been, maybe a spreading the wealth type of thing could have prevented Sinners from claiming victory there, possibly.
It's more of a best picture movie, I think, in the biggest air quote sense. And I mean, we could still be seeing genre bias. I think we saw Amy Madigan not win in supporting actress. Someone who I think is kind of well on their way to an Academy Award win. Or previously, I thought that was the case, but I think when we get to these more general bodies, you're seeing some of these prejudices possibly creep in against genre filmmaking, and we see maybe weapons flying out of the conversation a little bit more, sinners flying out of the conversation a little bit more.
Jacob Elordi didn't win either, and he's in a genre movie.
That's true.
Yeah, Frankenstein's another one. Yeah, no, it is true. I mean, like, certainly when I was at an FYC event for Amy Madigan recently, the love in the room was very strong for her. But that's, again, it was mainly SAG voters, but a select population, New York SAG voters who were clearly into weapons. So there is that whole horror movie bias has been something that's always followed awards, along with the comedy bias. Like those films have a harder path a lot of times to a win, in either for a best picture or even for an acting performance. So that might be what we're seeing playing out in those wins for sure. At the same time, though, if Madigan has that love entrenched in SAG, being that industry veteran, being that person that people can look at and say, "Wow, she's had this amazing career. Now's the time to give her the career tribute statue," then that helps her into the best supporting actress endgame for sure. So
yeah, I think people who like me are have a rooting interest in Amy Madigan ultimately being successful at the Oscars. I wouldn't get too worried at this point. I mean, all credits to Tiana Taylor. I should say, an amazing performance in a movie that I absolutely love. But if you are rooting for Amy Madigan, I would say keep an eye on the actor awards. As you mentioned, SAG, the biggest branch of the Academy. Love a veteran working actor. There is a very strong argument to be made that SAG could swing towards Amy Madigan, and I think that be more of a precursor for the Academy Awards. But that's the award to watch.
And it definitely seems, to your point about the Sinner side of things when it comes to horror, this could lead to, as I noted in my sort of post-Globes analysis column, we might see a reshuffling in the odds when it comes to Hamnet, moving that into the number 2 spot over Sinners. And for a long time, we've assumed it's either, if One Battle doesn't get it, which again is looking increasingly unlikely, then Sinners is going to be the one to get it. But maybe it's going to be Hamnet now. Maybe that rises in the odds and becomes the number 2, because it's been hovering at number 3 pretty consistently throughout since the Fall Film Festival cycle. But we might now start to see that bump if people are thinking, oh, maybe the horror thing will count against Sinners. Maybe the success will count against Sinners. Let's put Hamnet in there as the number 2.
Yeah, and just last year, Demi Moore, she did win the Globe for a genre movie, but then she couldn't pull it out at the Oscars. I think that was a little bit of genre bias. And maybe what would have happened if she had gone supporting? I mean, that's a discussion for a different day. But that would have been an interesting journey to watch.
The other side, interesting on the commercial best commercial box office performance win by Sinners winning, that basically canceled out both Wicked for Good and Avatar: Fire and Ash, both of which were are among the biggest hits of the year. Still hoping to find a place in the Best Picture Oscar conversation. Wicked for Good lost all 4 of its awards, so compared to last year where it did win the best box office achievement award, it won nothing this year. Avatar: Fire and Ash also won nothing. So is there a chance now after this that they're completely out of Best Picture contention? Did you see them still making it into the top 10?
I think Avatar has got a better chance at this point, largely based on, I mean, the critical response to that is a little bit more difficult to read. I think if you're trying to get a more accurate snapshot of the general feeling about that film, you look at its box opposite, you look at James Cameron's track record. It is a well-liked movie, and it's done incredibly well. It is a stunning achievement of technical wondery, and I think that cumulatively taken as a whole, when you factor in things like special effects and the performances and sound, I think even if the story was leaving people a little bit cold in terms of hitting similar beats to Way of Water, or ending in kind of a strange way with the future of the series uncertain, I think you see that getting into this picture. The turn on Wicked has been pretty striking, and that is a similar argument could be made in terms of the craft too. Like we have, there was a lot of success below the line for the first part of Wicked, winning Best Costume Design among others, and I think we could see it represented there again. But Best Picture, that's probably the contender that I'm watching the most close. That's on, coincidentally enough, on the bubble. More than anything else.
I was waiting for it. All right, let's get to it. Girl,
it was the softest of layups.
I would say Wicked and Avatar are probably hovering around 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. There's a possibility they'll both get in. There's a possibility they'll both not get in. And just ask the PGA voters. They decided to not put either of them in. And I just checked the Gold Derby official odds. Post Globes, both of those movies are in 11th and 12th place. So I'm going to have to update mine now that the Globes have come and gone. And maybe if I were to keep one, I think I would keep Wicked for good. But that might be a heart thing over a head thing.
No, I still feel, looking at Wicked for Good's strength on the Oscar shortlist, for example, down ballot, there's a lot of craft love for it. So I think that's sort of where the Best Picture hopes can still come from. And I do see it still floating bubble-like into the top 10. Avatar, I thought James Cameron's reputation would be enough. That might not be enough to get it in there. So that I am starting to think for the first time it may not make it, after being pretty convinced it was going to make it all season long. Now I'm not sure. And in part because, and this leads into the other big, I wouldn't say upset again, but nice surprise, The Secret Agent. The surge for that Brazilian film has been really something to see, and it powered itself to 2 wins last night. Best non-English language feature, beating out It Was Just an Accident from France, Iran, which again was the film that was heavily favored going into it, and then Wagnamura scoring a Best Actor win over Michael B. Jordan, among others, in the drama category. So The Secret Agent love is real. Obviously, this is the Globes, not Oscar voters yet. The Secret Agent was left off a lot of the Guild short nominees, what didn't qualify for the Actor Awards or DGA or PGA, but once it goes to the full global voting body of the Academy, you could really see that start to make a dent. And we're already predicting it ending up in the Best Picture races. We saw it surge into the top 10 of Best Picture contenders. So The Secret Agent gets in, that could be the thing that consigns Pandora to the storage room, sadly, this time around.
I mean, and talking about Wagnamura, this has been a narrative that's been developing, and it was certainly something you could have said before last night, but I think with even more certainty, I think we have a real challenger for Timothée Chalamet at Best Actor. And I think it's such a good performance, a dual role, not to give too much away, that I think really, really resonates with people. And I think as you get, you're looking at larger voting bodies and head towards the Academy, more an international voting body, there's just a lot of love for him, for that movie. And he's performing really well as a winner. His speeches have been great. He backstage at the Gold Globes, he was speaking really candidly about being a Brazilian artist and making Brazilian art. And people had brought up Fernando Torres' win last year at the Globes, and how those two movies dealt with the dictatorship, and I believe dictatorship is on a lot of people's minds right now, and there's a real path for him there, and it has become a very, very interesting race.
He's just cool, man. Like, he just has a swagger. I like to think there's all that stuff going around this morning about who Leonardo DiCaprio was pointing at. His reaction at one point off the cuff has been memed. I like to think he was signaling Wagnamura to talk later. Like, that's my headcanon, is that they had a post Globes chat or something like that. Leo getting some swagger tips from Wagner.
Somebody in that room knows the answer, and they need to tell us who he was talking to.
We need to find out. That's an amazing clip. Bravo to whoever captured that on camera, put it out there for all of us to see and obsess over.
And speaking of Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, again, shouts to Nikki Glaser and her writing team. The handling of him and the jokes around him, I thought was really good, and I appreciate the research that was done into just trying to find something out about Leonardo DiCaprio.
She elevated the joke that he, loves younger women, and she made it better. Because remember, Amy and Tina did a similar joke, 10, 15 years ago, but Nikki like really dissected that joke and just made it something special.
Right. Yeah, 100%. All right, well, let's turn to the TV side of things, where, Marcus, you had a great headline in your analysis of it, basically saying it was all repeats of Emmys. Like, it was just a night of repeats when it came to winners. Was that disappointing for you? Were you sad they really didn't take more chances?
Yeah, I like fell asleep after the fourth Adolescence win. I'm like, what's going on? Did I wake up and it's September 2025 and I'm watching the Emmys again? Yeah, Adolescence won 4, The Pit won 2, The Studio won 2, Hacks won for Dear Old Jean. The two sort of shockers, well, you can't call Ray Seahorn a shocker because she was in number 1. So the one shocker was Michelle Williams, who, I mean, we joked last week that she's still dying for sex after all these months, and she actually won, and I'm happy she won. I think she deserved to win. It's interesting the Critics' Choice went a different way. They went with Sarah Snook, but Michelle Williams, congrats to her. But yeah, otherwise it's like, this is not the Globes of old. The Globes of old would have given brand new shows their moment. I think Pluribus would have won drama series in the old Globes. I think at this point they would have moved on from Jean and maybe given it to Kristen Bell. But I mean, The Studio and The Pit, they are new shows. So don't get me wrong when I say they're not giving new stuff. I'm referring to more like shows that just debuted after the Emmy eligibility that the Globes usually would have, put their stamp on.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
Like A Beast in Me, where that was my protest vote against Adolescence. Like, oh, maybe The Beast in Me. That'll be I could have seen like a Claire Danes win in the previous regime of the Globes for sure. That was an example of something they would have said. Yes, we are planting our flag on The Beast in Me, and doing that early.
And Ray Seahorn's speech was absolutely amazing. Calling out Queen Latifah, and then, where are you, Vince Gilligan? I haven't even seen you yet. Why is the Pluribus table way over there, by the way, and she's way up in the front? Maybe
the seating in general was weird sometimes. Some people had a really long walk to the stage, and I felt really
Stellan Skarsgård. I'm like, where did they sit this guy? Wasn't he number 1 in the odds? Put him up front.
Justice for Stellan.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about how long people were walking to accept their awards in a relatively small room. It was I think they made maybe a maze out of some of those tables to make it a little bit more challenging to see if people can really earn their award.
Yeah, I remember. I think Gene Smart was like, "Wait, how do I maneuver my way up to the front?" And George Clooney was like, "Oh, go this way."
Right. George Clooney helped her out. He did very gentlemanly. Yes, that was very nice. It seemed like everyone was loving Gene Smart. The other big viral one was Julia Roberts on the red carpet calling out Gene Smart, and they had a little exchange there. So yeah, no, the Gene Smart love is very strong.
Not to take us on a complete detour, but you mentioned Julia Roberts. What a reminder of what putting a genuine movie star in the center of a spotlight, the power of that. I was just kind of bowled over. I was just like, oh my God, I kind of remember what this used to be like. I was just like really, truly incandescent star power, holding the spotlight like nobody else in the whole world can. I was like, can we please just get more Julia Roberts? I mean, not just in our award shows, but in our films. I mean, she spoke a little bit about having seen the next Ocean script and being surprised by it on the red carpet. And I just like, let's please just get it going. Like I was a little mixed on After the Hunt, but I just to have her back up on screen, doing something really interesting and having her back at an award show, it felt like old times. Something was healing in me, and I think her performance last night at the close was one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah, it was great seeing her, and she's getting a little more sassy the older she gets, and I love the sassy little bitchy side of Julia Roberts. She killed it last night at the Globes, and a month ago at the Gothams, Ethan, she really delivered there as well when she presented something.
Yeah,
I want more Julia Roberts.
I know. I think she definitely is in the NFG phase now that she knows that After Hunt basically is an awards player. She's like, I'm just going to use my pulpit to just have fun and riff, and that's what we're doing. Or, for example, like she gave Ava Victor, the Sorry Baby writer director star, a really great shout out, and I think imploring people to see that movie. And hey, heading into Oscar voting period, it can't get better than having Julia Roberts praise your movie from the podium and just say, hey, everyone, go see this now. So shout out to her for doing that.
And that shout out happened, I believe, after she opened the envelope. But instead of reading it, she just started riffing more on things that were happening. And I'm like, I want to know what's in the envelope, but I also want to hear what she has to say.
Right. I just want to hear her talk.
It was the opposite J-Lo, who opened the envelope before even reading the nomination.
I noticed that. Yeah, I was like, oh boy, someone is telling Jennifer, do not open it. Do not open it. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. We should say in all the love for the pit, Severance got completely snubbed, which was I think we predicted that going in, but that's a big, that seems like a big deal that the one of the biggest shows of last year didn't win anything. The pit basically,
and that's unfortunate because it was such a good season, and it occurred to me later after I wrote that piece last night on the TV winners that all of the TV winners except for Ray Seahorn had won and Michelle Williams, but Brett Lauer had won the Emmy, and it's almost like she's the only one that can't repeat, which is weird. I guess Ray Seahorn may be that strong, but that's just something to mention.
And then Adolescence has one more award show where it can basically win everything, and that's the SAG Actor Awards, which is coming up next month. So, and after that, we move on to other things. But Marcus, do you see that equally sweeping there? Do you think there's anything that could potentially challenge it? Or after last night, you're like, no, we're just doing Adolescence. Let's just get it clean and we're moving on.
It's so interesting because the actor awards, they combine the leads and supporting. So we're going to see Owen Cooper and Stephen Graham in the same category. And I believe last I checked at Gold Derby, the odds have Owen winning that, which is very rare. I'm working on an item on when a supporting person has beat a lead. It doesn't happen very often. The last time was Gillian Anderson for The Crown. But before that, you have to go back a long time. So that'll be fun to research.
I am looking forward to the end of Adolescence's awards cycle. I think Owen Cooper may also be looking forward to the end of it. It's a lot to ask of a really young man to give so many awards speeches and just trying to process it all. Stephen Graham just seems to be an unending fount of enthusiasm and joy. So he's not struggling, but I'm thinking of young Owen Cooper. I think he might be craving a return to somewhat normalcy.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think I mean those the studio also, we should mention that pretty much dominated the categories with the exception of Gene Smart. Again, that's not going to be back. They're filming. Seth Rogen said they're filming season 2 right now, so we probably won't see it in next year's cycle. Does that leave a chance for an opening for a new comedy to sneak in there as we enter TV? Is there anything you're looking at, Marcus, on the comedy side with the studio out of the running?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see maybe this fifth and final alleged season of Hacks. And how is it going to blow us all away like it did? I think season 3 was actually their best season. But with the studio out at the Emmys, which we believe it won't be back in time, that's going to open up 13 comedy categories because it won the record of 13. So there's going to be a lot of new blood coming in, and it'll be fun to dissect the new comedies, which ones have a real strong chance to take some of these categories. And we were talking, Ethan, about this new Game of Thrones spinoff, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's very lighthearted, and I'm wondering, could they enter it in comedy? We are going to ask HBO and find out what they're going to say, but that could, throw a lot of chaos into the category, which I love.
Absolutely. I would love to see the Westeros comedy go that route. And where you associate Game of Thrones with one thing in particular, so to have like the comedy version sounds like it would be very exciting for sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny, thinking what we were saying earlier, the whole conspiracy theory about them not wanting to give Warner Brothers 2 film statues. With the Pit winning, they could have won 3 best of altogether. So you would have had the Pit, Sinners, and One Battle After Another. So we prevented that. It's not a way it did not go 3 for Warner Brothers that way.
Mm-hmm. And the Pit is obviously back for season 2, so it'll be another force to be reckoned with at the Emmys, as well as Noah Wyle. But the Severance won't be back. Severance, I think it won 8 Emmys, so that'll open up a lot of slots too on the drama side.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pluribus won't be back for a little while too, so that'll be interesting how it competes against season 2 of The Pit in that way. We know the Pit just got renewed for season 3 already, so that'll be coming along. They're very efficient on production model, so we know The Pit's going to be a regular player. But maybe the fact that Pluribus won't be back helps give it some momentum for the rest of the year, as it'll take a little while for that one to reappear again. Yeah. All right. Well, we've talked about some of the favorite moments. Just to end before we sign off, is there one, apart from Julia Roberts, apart from Nikki Glazer's jokes, is there any particular win that you were both happiest with last night? And any winner that you were particularly happy to from last night's Globes?
As supportive as I am of Amy Madigan, I think seeing Teyana Taylor one was really wonderful. I think that's it's a very interesting role to win for, and I think I don't like a monolithic award season, and I mean Amy Madigan seemed thrilled, or at least she's a very good actor if it's otherwise. But that was a great speech, and it was a really strong way to kind of start the show off, which I was happy to see that.
I mean, I'm copying you. My favorite speech of the night was Teyana Taylor, and that was the first speech of the night too. So I'm like, ooh, we're in for a great show, and all the other speeches were fine. But Teyana really knocked it out of the park. Ray Seahorn on the TV side, I think she gave the best speech. And I'm most excited to see what happens from here in terms of the next, the actor awards for her and the Emmys.
Right. For sure. I have to give a shout out to Rose Byrne, winning Best Comedy Musical. It was a great win for her. Again, solidifies her as a major threat, potentially to Jessie Buckley. But the best part was when she explained her partner, Bobby Cannavale's absence because he was buying, in the process of visiting a reptile convention, to get a Komodo dragon. And as a reptile owner myself, we have a ball python. It made me very happy to hear that there's another reptile owning family out there. So shout out to Byrne and Cannavale, that clan, for bringing reptiles into the home and make it home for those cold-blooded pets. They're
well, it wasn't wait, I'm sorry, I am not a reptile owner myself, but it was not a Komodo dragon.
Sorry, yes, right, bearded Komodo lizard. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's get it right.
Although as a former resident of Brooklyn, everyone knows about the Byrne Cannavale Komodo dragon pit that they have. It's a great. You have to stay away, but it's
yes. No, you're right.
A genuinely funny moment, and she was great backstage. Took a lot of questions from Australian press, and it was a fun win too.
Right. And I loved when she said, "My parents bought Paramount Plus just so they could see the Golden Globes." That was really funny.
See, this is why we should as great as she is, and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, that movie is just barely the definition of a comedy. So I want to see her back in other Bridesmaids. That's what we need. She was amazing. Bridesmaids was one of her earliest breakout parts, I think, and so I would love to see her back in that kind of vehicle. Let's get that going. Let's get a proper Rose Byrne comedy coming in 2027, I think.
The funniest I've ever associated with If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You was Rose Byrne backstage thanking her co-stars, which is still strange to hear Conan O'Brien and A$AP Rocky. I was like, maybe this is a really funny movie. That's just a funny image. It's still something I'm getting used to, but that was a moment for sure.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening to our Globes coverage. Be sure to stick around and check out Gold Derby for more of our analysis and post-show pieces. And make sure to stay tuned for our Friday edition, where we're going to look ahead to our final Oscar predictions, because those nominees are being announced on January 22nd. Until then, you can send us your thoughts, questions, voicemails, predictions for who Leonardo DiCaprio was actually looking at during that viral moment at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com. And we'll be back in your ears and in your feeds soon. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news, and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.